I'm Valarie Johnson.
And this is executive producer Michael Wamble of the wonderful podcast called Interludes with Valarie Johnson.
And we're doing an Interludes Extra because we're going to be talking about the Lifetime movie, original movie, based on a rap group that we were fans of when we were younger, Salt and Pepa.
And Pepa's here.
And
Salt and Pepper.
this is a genre. The director was Mario Van Peebles, and I think this is a genre that he's familiar with. The New Jack City director doing this film, and I have to say, of all of the biopics that have recently been done on Lifetime, I believe this one really shines. I really like this one.
I would agree. I think that's really interesting. I mean, if you look at some of the more recent ones, you had on one end you have Salt and Pepper, and just like maybe a few months ago, or in the last couple of months, you had the Clark sisters.
Yeah.
You know, which is another one of those groups that I would consider to be Black famous.
Exactly.
Black people know who the Clark sisters are. Okay, they can tell you who the Clark sisters are. Clark sisters. You mean you are the sunshine, and then just go right into it. Now you step outside of that community, you may not know who the Clark sisters are. Now it's on Lifetime.
I know. And
So
that's one I still have to see. I haven't seen that one yet. I have to see that one.
But Valerie, do you remember when Lifetime was like talk shows, and it was extremely white? Regis Philbin was on Lifetime. Dr. Ruth Westheimer. I know you know the little lady with the make you happy.
And we do this, and this is how you properly have.
This is a rabbit. Yes, Dr. Ruth. Yes,
Dr. Ruth.
That was Lifetime.
And then also, I remember Lifetime. There's a exercise guru, Denise Austin. They would show her in the morning.
Yes.
I love Denise Austin. I was like, I want to do yoga like Denise.
And Denise still looks good. I fell into a rabbit hole maybe a couple of days ago. You know, the clickbait rabbit hole. What are they doing now? I saw her. I saw Body by Jake. What does he look like now? I saw them all. But yeah, Denise Austin, Lifetime.
And a lot of infomercials too.
Yes, a lot of infomercials, and for a time, Lifetime, I think, was a home to religious infomercials programming. So early in the morning, it would flip from this kind of, come to Jesus, literally come to Jesus, to Dr. Ruth, and it was a very schizophrenic type of station. But now it is gone, I think, all in on these sort of biopics that just, I don't think by coincidence, but just so happen to feature African American women.
Yeah. So just to give you a little background, right now it is a subsidiary of A&E Networks, which is jointly owned by Hearst Communications and the Walt Disney Company, which means the mouse is in there somewhere. And originally Lifetime was geared toward women. That's why Denise Austin, Dr. Ruth, and other talk shows were very popular when they first started.
A channel for women.
Channel for Women. I think they launched in 1984.
Yes. And this was around the time where there was an issue that's still ongoing in at least cable television. Now we would say, I guess, digital television, which was equity. Channels with equity. That was not a channel really dedicated toward or focused on issues regarding women. And this
Exactly.
was something that was pushed in Congress.
Mhm.
Just a very little bit of the background there.
Mhm.
So that's how it came about. I mean, this is the same idea that gives us, current channels like Revolt, which
Mhm.
is owned by Puffy.
Right.
Gives us TV
Mhm.
One, the Karen Hughes, least
Mhm.
based out of Radio One, and
Mhm.
that's where it is today. But it was just the whole idea that if you're going to have these outlets, which were considered then airwaves, right, that you had to give some kind of have some segment so it was representative of the population. Now,
Right.
how we went from Dr. Ruth to Salt and Pepper, I guess we could talk about sex. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you make that jump, but Aaliyah.
Yeah, that was unfortunately, I feel like that was one of the worst ones that was produced because they did not have the rights to Aaliyah's music. And the young lady who was in there, Alexandra Ship, I think she did a decent job, but it just the material that she was given, and I don't know, it didn't work. It didn't work.
That was what you would call unauthorized. The thing that made this a pretty interesting biopic in terms of a
Salt and
musical
pepper.
group was that
Hmm.
this was, yeah, Salt and Pepper,
Hmm.
that this was authorized. So they were, Cheryl and Sandy, Salt
Hmm.
and Pepper, they were the executive producers there. So along with Herbie, they're pretty well known, DJ producer. They produced this. So this was their opportunity to tell their story, which
Hmm.
sometimes means that it's going to get, quote unquote, whitewashed. There might be some things that are missing because you can take out some of the negative things that happened, or
Hmm.
tell them the way you want to tell them. But on the other hand, in terms of African Americans being able to tell our own stories, there's a lot of positives here. So someone could always go back and do an unauthorized pick on Salt and Pepper or an authorized book, but at least now we know their story, the way that they wanted to present themselves and what their intentions were at the time. So in that way, I think I mean, it was really interesting. It was a little long, and that had to do with the commercials, which of course are still essential to forms of broadcast cable. But
Hmm.
overall, I mean, I thought it was really good. I
I,
was surprised about how good it was. What did you
and
think?
and I lived in New York, so I could kind of tell when things were set and then where they shot. I think the scene where they
Yeah,
went
coming to New
back to
York. All
Dougie,
right.
yeah, when they
All
shot
right.
the Dougie, I guess they did their first performance at in like the backyard or the high school area where they would perform. And I think I
Dougie
kind of
Fresh High
identified,
School.
yeah, I kind of identify where that was, and I'm like, okay, I think I know where they shot that. And then it was good for them to kind of keep the continuity with, okay, at that time the Twin Towers were up, so anytime I think iconic pictures that were taken, they kind of put that in there. And I've noticed if it's a good biop, especially if it's a musical one, you take one musical height that happened and you bookend it. So at the very beginning, it was them being presented at the 2005 VH1 Awards or something. It was like a Lifetime
Yes.
Achievement situation.
Right.
And so that was bookend. So that started it and then it ended it. And
Yes.
along with also producing, I believe Queen Latifah was one of the executive producers on there too, because they
Yeah.
actually
She
used her
was.
real voice. We
Hmm.
kind of saw a side view of her, but that might have not been her, but they used her voice to introduce them. And so a lot of the people that were kind of entrenched into the
And she
culture
was
at
the
that
executive
time.
producer of
Yeah.
this particular
Hmm.
biopic. So she had an
Right.
interest in it as
Exactly.
well. Hmm.
Yeah. So I just when I think of Salt and Pepper and try to I kind of go back to when they first hit big. I was thinking, oh wow, they're women, because at that time rap artists We had started as early, I want to say, as the late 70s, early 80s. All was known were men. You had Curtis Blow, you had Sugar Hill Gang, you had Furious Five and Grandmaster Flash. So these were the people that were starting to shape rap. And right at the beginning, I think Crush Groove was one of the first few feature films that had come out. You had Breakin', you had Beat Street, and Crush Groove had come out. And you remember Crush Groove?
Oh, I remember a mile. I was
Yeah,
watching Beat Street this past week. You know, even
yeah.
before I thought about Salt and Pepper, it was just I clicked on something and clicked on something else, and all of a sudden I was watching Beat Street,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is
So
funny in ways it should and shouldn't be. So